Hello and welcome to the Pirate Diffusion Show. We are sponsored by Gradient. Try all of our software free for 7 days at gradient.ai. This is Squibduck speaking, and I'm joined by our lovely co-hosts, Captain Morgan Freeman and Eggs Benadryl. This is episode 8, if you've been counting. It's kind of hard to believe that we're up to that number now. Yet another episode is here. It's been quite a while since we've had one. It's been at least... 2 months? Or is my calendar broken? I think we tried to have an episode, and then we ended up learning about what time zones mean. So that was a fun one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're building the product as we're doing the show, so it's a very, very interesting dynamic at play in the background. But on the bright side, we've got all kinds of new stuff to show you. I mean, there's a really exciting improvements on this episode.
Awesome. Yeah, it's sort of like a mix of flying by the seat of our pants and building the train track while the train's rolling, build the plane.
That's exactly what it is.
Fix the pod as your pod racer's going or whatever. It's working. Oh my goodness. Before we get started, we should talk about the Pirate Diffusion book. The physical art book that is going to be assembled, and the contest. Would you like to say a couple words about that, Morgan?
Yeah, I'm super excited about this book. It's going to be gorgeous. We have put a call for entries, so anybody can nominate a render, or you can submit your own stuff. There's a ton of really cool... the full prompt is going to be in there. We're going to be featuring some of our most popular creators, and we're targeting a 100-page kind of coffee table, like really nice. We may do a matte print and a gloss option. We're still trying to work that out with the printer, but there's some really, really just lovely creations in here. I'm super excited about it.
So we're thumbing through a couple of them. There's so many of them now. It's gonna be hard to choose what goes in the book.
And yeah, so
there's a special channel where you can submit your entries, right? Or you can nominate someone else's entries. So I could ambush you and forward one of your renders into that channel and credit you, right?
That's right. So if you are doing the free trial with Gradient and you log on to your dashboard, there is an icon at the bottom. If you look at my screen here, it says call for entries. You just click on that. And if you haven't set up your Pirate Diffusion bot, there's an icon for that also. You can set that up first and then submit your call to entries from right there. Or you can also email your entries to info@gradient.ai.
Truly impressive stuff in there.
It's really cool. We're going to have a really nice range of types of creators. Really showcase.
I think I've heard you mention it before. You know, it's like people get a really preconceived notion about what AI is and what it can do and what it can't do. And pretty much everybody in here is showing that it can do pretty much everything you say it can't do.
Yeah. Some really inspiring stuff in there.
Somebody can figure out how to make it bend to their will to pretty much do it.
And folks, if you're brand new to Pirate Diffusion, you can go to piratediffusion.com. We've created a cheat sheet. It's just a one-pager that has every single command. And there's a sidebar that you can jump straight into the thing that you want to do. So for example, if you want to see the prompt that is from one of these the call for entry images, there's a command called show prompt, which we did in a previous episode. So everything that there is to know is on that cheat sheet, piratediffusion.com. And if we're going too fast, if we're skipping around too much, you can find everything that you need on that page.
That's awesome. I I always try to commit most things to memory, but I end up there's just so many, niche features, small little things like the / meme. There's so many good ones. But even
Yeah, there's over 100 commands now, or 100 possible parameters and things. All kinds of obscure stuff on that page.
full explanations and everything. That's so good. I should probably actually brush up before I answer questions about certain ones. Because there's some, back in the day, I would just sort of like grok what things do by using them and speculating, but having it all arranged like that in sort of like a wiki style or a documentation. That's awesome. Super useful. Just to some closing comments about the book there, to splice in. One of the coolest things about having a physical product in your hand, accumulation of all the hard work of dozens, hundreds of people in the community, is something to show to your family or your friends. And like you were saying, I think it was Eggs, you had mentioned, like, if people have a stigma or some doubts about AI art and what it's all about, I have faith that we're going to get some great selections in there, good variety, but just something that, you can really show off and confidently just say you were a part of it. You're right there on the ground floor when Pirate Diffusion was founded and took part and got your entries in their first ever physical coffee table book. So very exciting stuff. And a little bit of cash money for the prize doesn't hurt either. That's for the cover art contest, right?
Yes, there's a cash prize for the cover art, though that's not been decided. And that you've got time. I think the cutoff is at the end of the year, so Q4.
You're still early. Time. You're still early, bro.
Yeah, whoever's putting that together has got a lot of stuff to choose from.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't envy those.
You've got time to master the brand new Stable Diffusion 3 that we've just added.
Sweet. So, I think it's time to talk about what's hot. Today, we're going to be looking at SD3. So there'll be the third iteration of Stable Diffusion, if I'm not mistaken. And while we're covering that, we're going to just take a little bit of a peek into workflows, and that being how we currently render in SD3. So, tell me about SD3, Eggs. What is SD3? I've heard so much about it.
Well, I'm sure you've heard all sorts of stuff, maybe just here and there from all sorts of different sources. So all the different versions
stuff,
of,
right?
Oh, here and there, all sorts, good and bad, just like with everything. So every version that we've used so far of Stable Diffusion has its own version. Or a code name or whatever it's called, Cascade, XL, all these things that Stability puts out. But so here we currently run 1.5, which is the one that has the most models. It's been around for the longest, just a couple of years. But I mean, in that time, we've got thousands and thousands of models and LoRa's. Who knows, hundreds of thousands by now? I'm not even sure. And then you've got XL, which is the upgraded version of 1.5, makes higher resolution images, listens to your prompt a little better.
Okay, so that's XL. What's SD3? This would be the third generation?
Yeah, so I think
the new hotness.
I'm pretty sure it's all trained on 1024 by 1024 resolution, just like XL.
That's correct.
But there's
so
a lot
of like XL, but
there's a lot of
more gooder
tech under the hood I don't understand about encoders and all this, the way it processes your prompt. And so what all of that fancy tech results in a better understanding of your prompt. Relation objects from each other. It can put things on top of each other. You can render a person with a dog head or something like that, and it'll do it, first couple times generally without having to work.
And the text is just so much better on version 3. The color depth also is incredible.
Yeah, so there's always been issues with making text. It knows that you want text. It tries to put text. The word that it makes will generally start with the first letter, and then it just gets all jumbled from there. And it's gotten progressively better. Excel's still not great, but it tries a lot harder. And SD3 can pretty much do it out the gate.
Yeah, I tried a lot of those Excel-based LoRa's to support text generation, and if you're doing like a big logo with SDXL, it can kind of do it sometimes. But I've had a lot better luck with SD3. And just to show an example, I did a wizard holding a coconut that says Stable Diffusion XL, and it completely ignored the text part. So I've got my wizard with the coconuts, and it's a good looking wizard, but there's no text anywhere. Yeah. And then I did it with SD3, and it's legible. There it is.
No.
Yeah. It's the exact
that
text.
Looks so good.
And then it'll do some, yeah, it'll do funny typos, but if you just do it a couple times, you'll get a correct one. I did another text example. Yeah. And then the bigger the text is on the image, the less likely it will create a typo. But here I have a wizard in space with hot dogs and gems will work for cheeseburgers, and it got it. That's a pretty complicated prompt, and it nailed it.
All right, so how do we render something with SD3? I want to get into that.
So I just popped one in on my screen. So
before we get started, I want to preface that this is the Stable Diffusion 3 beta, and this is the smaller medium model that was just released, and it is not without its flaws and controversies. So to kind of wrap up what it's for and what it's not good for, if you're doing any kind of sexy stuff, you're going to want to use Stable Diffusion 1.5 or XL, and the SD3 model is not good at anatomy, especially if you ask ladies to lie down on the grass. There's just hilarious memes.
Oh no,
on
I
Reddit.
saw that.
And to be
so
fair,
good.
I think XLN
It's
problems
so
with
good that
too,
someone
but,
trained an SDXL LoRa on the mangled ladies of SD3.
Just for the nostalgia. Wow.
It's pure gold. There was another really funny post on Reddit. It's just like one for the boys, and it's a bunch of mangled guys on the ground.
Too funny.
With, the anatomy. So it sounds like they rushed it out, or they undercooked it, or something happened. But Stability has just recently announced that an update is coming, and they're going to try to rectify things. I'm not going to go into the whole license controversy for SD3. You can Google that. And that also got a recent update.
Right. So it's a early preview model, apparently, according to a quick web search. Interesting. So we're using the mid-range one, you said? Yeah,
this is the medium, and then for API clients, they have a slightly more cinematic one that's available.
And I've heard they've promised an update to medium. That's what I've heard and read from their press release. Yeah. When they admitted, parts of it were half-baked, but, they're going to update the medium model, so it should get better. And the thing with the licensing thing, it's all generally resolved, and now we should probably expect to see a couple fine-tunes in the horizon, meaning the model will only get better.
Okay, so it's being always worked on. This is their latest outcome.
And the community will be able to improve the model.
And just to put another angle to this whole thing, so Pirate Diffusion supports multiple image models. We're not just a Stable Diffusion house, and I bring that up because there's something called the Open Model Initiative that was created by the Stable Diffusion community out of frustration for what happened with SD3 and its license. So in the future, things that come out of the open model initiative will run on Pirate Diffusion alongside future versions of Stable Diffusion 3 and other kinds of image models. So we're a model agnostic software.
If it runs and we're allowed to run it, then we'll run it, sounds like.
We have we have full intentions to support other model types.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I was reading all about that. We'll see what the community can do.
Sweet. So, Eggs, if you want to hit the ground running here, you had mentioned that we need to use a workflow. You might have seen some of our copy pastes flowing past as we've been speaking, but that's something new, isn't it? Workflow / workflow.
Yeah,
/ workflow, new command.
At least on Telegram, it'll function the same way other commands do with slash, just like you would do render. But instead of render, you put workflow, one word, another slash, run, and then the name of the workflow, and that is SD3. And that is how you'll run SD3 currently. In the future, it'll work. It should work just like a normal model with render, but this is a new implementation that we're going to support also in the future. It also teases the whole workflow feature, which will be very interesting. The more that gets fleshed out, developed, people add their own.
Workflows are very new, still a work in progress function. And it's at its core, it would be like a multi-step bundle of instructions. And you create your set of instructions and then you fire it off.
So currently, it's how we run SD3 is we use a workflow. And so what that is in Pirate Diffusion is what it actually does is it runs in a completely different user interface under the hood and allows us to do all sorts of new features and multi-step renders and all these fancy new things. It's called Comfy UI. I'm sure that other people have heard it before. But what it does is it runs that in the background, and it runs this whole workflow, this multi-step process that results in either an upscaled image, people make video with it, people use ControlNet with it. So it's a whole way to render, but we can utilize that under the hood, and that's how we currently use SD3.
Cool. So is it something that I would have to prepare in advance just for me to use it, or is it something that you could prepare and I could kind of mooch and use your workflow?
Yeah, so currently we're working on making some pre-canned workflows that everybody can use. Like I've made one that I use RealViz a lot, the XL model. And so one of them that I made was it automatically upscales that to 2K, so 2000 by 2000. And you just enter your prompt like you normally would, and you get back an image that's upscaled automatically for you. So you have no multi-step process, it just does it. But that'll be coming down the line. But that implementation is currently how we run SD3, the bait on Pirate Diffusion. And I ran a couple here, and we can look how to do that real quick. Because anybody can run this right now, this workflow, and see how SD3 works for them. Give us some feedback. Tell us how to prompt for it. What works best for you guys.
Sweet. So let's run through a workflow then. Just very quickly without, getting into the nuts and bolts of it. So say someone wanted to render with SD3. They can make use of one of the existing workflows that's there. And for example, I've got one here. I think this might be yours, Eggs. It's just called SD3. I'm highlighting it here in chat. So /workflow /run : SD3. And then what do we need to provide here? It looks like just the size of the image and then the number of images, and then it does the rest.
Yeah, and I think this is currently mapped to a handful of other parameters you can currently use, like guidance, steps, like you'd normally use for a render on Pirate Diffusion. So enter those as you please, like you would for a normal render, those parameters, and then enter in your prompt.
I love it. The easier, the better. There's less things for me to screw up or forget. Okay, cool. So I just typed it in, and I said, workflow, run SD3, size 1300, images 3. A couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in the neighborhood. And it replied
I know
to
that
me.
reference.
It replied to me by saying, watch your workflow render live here. So I can click that button, and I get a little pop-up let's click the pop-up, and I'm just going to drag that tab over here. Here we go. Okay, cool. What am I looking at? What's all this
To make you feel like a
all
hacker.
this stuff?
You know, all the code sputtering in the background.
Whoa. Okay, cool. And then
So this is a beta. This is an early preview, and we're showing all the debugging things inside this thing called the workflow watcher.
So those look like some wholesome guys.
As the image is being created, yeah, they're up to no good though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess so.
Yeah. He's got his hand in his pocket. He's up to no good.
He's stealing his phone while he's not looking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Starting trouble.
Cool. Okay.
Those look great, and that was so easy to run.
Awesome. Let's do a few more.
You know, just an observation now, just looking at those images, you know, people really complained a lot about how Excel would give you these really professional photos just out of nothing, even if you ask just for something basic, you know, and people really want that casual kind of look. You know, those look really realistic. That looks like taken with an iPhone. You know, it isn't a studio photo.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I've noticed with SD3. That I'm sure that it's capable of those things if you want them, studio lighting, comma, or wherever you want to prompt. But by default, it seems to give you, you know, what we would all consider a basic photo.
Masterpiece, masterwork,
yeah,
unparalleled
so
masterpiece.
So that watcher,
award-winning.
I would say, wouldn't worry about it unless you don't get a render back, you know, where you get an error.
Yeah.
Because that's
okay. I just want to click the thing, man. A button pops up. I got to click that.
Well, curiosity.
So basically, up here, this is basically. Yeah. So right up here is, I guess, the gist, right? So it says status, and again, this is all whip stuff. So by the time you watch this, it might have changed, but it looks like it's stopped up there. So I can probably close the tabs when they're done. But if you hit an error, it's or you know, just something weird happens. It's still work in progress, very beta. You might see it there. This is an interesting one. So SD3. Okay. Well, I said sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. And it kind of, there we go. All right. One out of 3. I got a cat, which, you know, because it's the internet, we get cats. And then we got some nuts with the quote. And then I guess some all brand or something. So it's some brand, generic brand.
If you've been lurking around the Telegram, I'm sure you've seen. It's pretty fun for goofs and jokes, and also because it does text generally pretty well. You know, you look on mine, I loaded, what if Chipotle and Taco Bell did a combo? Chipotle Bell. First one says that one says Chipotle.
I'm doing the woman laying down on the grass meme. So this is the prompt not to do on Stable Diffusion 3.
Pretty reliably bad.
Where it completely yes, it's incredible. But it's so funny, man. Like
it's like just on Excel when you would try to render somebody upside down, it would like make them float or
oh yeah, that's a fun one. Breakdancing also is really good.
Yeah, so you can see on mine that it got the text right on a couple of these. So it is pretty good for text, you know. I did 6 images, it got the text perfect on 2. You know, that's you can rerun it till you get exactly what you want, and that's the beauty about, you know, the subscription-based thing. You know, you can just keep running it, see what you get, see what you can improve.
That bus looks great.
Yeah,
I got really cool details.
A busload of nuns traveling to a book fair on a Tuesday night. Dark sky. Wet roads out the window. I guess we got wet roads inside the bus, but hey.
So just look at the quality of the lighting, all the cinematic. Just think, I don't know, you know, if you've been around seeing the development of XL, what base model version of XL looks like versus what it looks like now. You know, it's miles and miles apart. So if this is the base model, if the people commit to it in the community to develop for it, we'll probably get some good stuff.
On the Pirate Diffusion subreddit, on reddit.com/r/Pirate Diffusion, the high quality Stable Diffusion renders from the community are all there. You know, Nosferatu in the butterfly garden, and some other really creative examples are on here. So please check out our subreddit. There's all kinds of really fun stuff on here. Astronaut birds and look at the detail on this lasagna. Can you see that?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the ones I was mentioning, the workflows. So that's kind of quality you can get, and that's with one step. You didn't have to upscale anything. So that's really the beauty of, and sometimes if you're developing these, you might have to do some tweaks to see how it works before you publish it, so to speak, as a workflow that you can run just via command. But, I know that mine has some tweaking to do for certain things. I think paintings and stuff like I like to do, it really seems to blow out the guidance. It just looks, just a series of upscaling. But, trial and error.
Look at this tattoo. Like that looks perfect. Just the
yeah, like some of these just look
kind of
like
read
real.
it. Mississippi Delta.
Yeah. Whoa.
Paul Simon, so.
There's a big
Me too.
frog. It just, I say it every episode, it just never ends, the rabbit hole. And it's, with every time I open up Telegram or the web UI to Pirate Diffusion, it's like, you guys have just made more and more branches on this rabbit hole, and it's just wonderful. It's,
Hell yeah, brother.
There was one you were looking at on there that was next to lasagna. I can't remember what it was. It was just so crisp. It's one of the ones that I think you had made with one of my workflows. So that's crazy crisp. Oh yeah, the text. I made that one. Alaskan Thunderbutt.
That's imported from. Is that Korean?
Yeah, that's SD3.
Squid Zone. That text is perfect.
On the subreddits and stuff, people say, "Oh, you can just Photoshop it." It's like, what a pain in the ass! What a waste of my time. When I could just, why not have the model, slap it on there, and blend it in for me? Why should I put rancid
It's
meat
so
on my
much fun
lays?
for gags. These are just awesome. They're so much fun. I'm just the amount of things that you can do with it, and it's easy for beginners. Is the thing I can't stress enough. So you don't have to write a complicated prompt, but you also have to know like the limitations of what the model can and can't do. Like if you're trying to do anything involving like groups of people or a specific pose,
people
or,
upside down, people doing acrobatics, or if you can see mine, so just all legs, no head. Oh my goodness, what is this one? Person falling into a television. So gentlemen, we talked a little bit about SD3. We gave a bit of a tease and a how-to for workflows, such that people can enjoy kicking the tires on their own if they're able to noodle with that. As a little bit of a question there, now, Morgan, is the access to workflows and thus SD3, is this limited to, can anyone use it? Can free users use it, or just members, or what's the access like for now?
Yes, so we are offering free access for 7 days. So anyone can sign up and enjoy it for 7 days. And it is unlimited use within Telegram for right now. And we're going to be launching a workflows area for web UI, making Stable Diffusion 3 available on our website as well. I have a preview here of what the new dashboard looks like. So eventually, you can just go on our website, click a button, and launch Stable Diffusion 3. That's coming up next. In the meantime, if you are eager to try it, go ahead and set up your Telegram bot. And if you type the /workflows command, flows plural, you can see a list of the other beta workflows that the community has created. And you can just click on those workflows to copy the template, paste it into your chat. So there's some image to image ones here. Actually, this template is, so for image to image, you want to have an image input, right?
Right.
And then
it's like a remix.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do image to image with workflow. So So if I type just /workflows, you can see the list of all of the beta workflows that we have. And then the ones that say image to image or remix require an image input, which means that I first have to select an image. So I'm going to select my wizard here. I'm going to hit reply by right-clicking on him. Do /workflow. Run SD3 remix. So a lovely woman holding a giant screaming tomato. And that's how you do image to image on the SD3 preview beta. So we're making buttons, and we're going to shorten all of this typing, so you don't have to commit any of this stuff to memory. You can just copy. Oh, okay. There's my woman with her tomato, and that's all there is to it. So this is just an early preview, and give us a little bit of time, and we're bringing it to the web as well. So here's the new early preview of the new Gradient dashboard. I have a preview on my screen of what workflows will look like on the web. So the idea is it's a little thumbnail, and then you click on that, and then you run it, and people will be able to edit it. It's kind of similar to the way that our concept system currently works. So there'll be a button here. This is a run workflow. It's not there yet. So this is all coming to web.
Cool. It's almost a little bit like recipes, I guess, right? Or styles. There's just the ability for users to create something. So, just a combination.
It is the next generation.
All right. That covers pretty much everything we have time for today. So from all of us here at Pirate Diffusion, sponsored by Gradient, have a wonderful rest of your evening, afternoon, or day, or morning. Thanks for listening and watching, and take care.
Take care. Thank you.